Welcome back to StoneBlock, and today we're going to be going into autocrafting. So I've extended upwards some smart cable. We're going to need those in a short while, and I've put some of this cable facade around it just so it'll look very much like a single block around here. So this is relatively easy to make, cable facade, and you can make it all kinds of different stuff, all kinds of different units. Just make cable anchors. That's just iron and a cutting knife, which is nether quartz. And you'll be able to make any kind of facade you like. It just lets us surround terminals when they're on the side of blocks like this. Kind of handy. So to get started, we're going to need to fill these spaces. Today with autocrafting, we have got to get through a few things. I'm going to be rushing a little bit. If anything isn't obvious, please do let me know in the comments. I'm more than happy to explain further. Down here, we've got our ME controller. Off this side, we're going to take some cable out and up into this next room. I'm going to sink a lot of this stuff we're going to build in this next room into the floor. I will still make the ceiling, the normal height, but we're going to be sinking stuff into the floor. It should look quite nice once it's done. And we're going to be building a few things. First, we're going to be building probably towers. I was debating whether to use a checkerboard pattern. The only problem with checkerboard patterns is it's not easy to go and find or see when lots of things are actually going what the problem is. You can just go to a tower and just have a look and see where the blockages are. The other thing we're going to be building is crafting CPUs, and that will again be alongside our towers or near to our towers. Well, it doesn't have to be, but just for my particular sake. And then the third thing is these terminals. So let's get that started. First one I'm going to go for is the pattern terminal, I think. Let's go and grab that. And the pattern terminal basically lets you have a crafting grid that will let you store. I'm going to need a terminal. Yeah, it may not let me do that. Oh, hang on. ME terminal? Why can't I make a pattern terminal? Was that something else? Pattern terminal, it wants an ME crafting terminal. Was that not what I made? Oh, I just had a regular terminal. Okay, fair enough. ME crafting terminal. There we go. So pattern terminal lets you have a crafting grid that you can store the result onto patterns. There you go. You'll see that fits quite nicely with the facade. And same thing here. We can just put an edge on that to make it look like a complete block. It's quite nice. And yeah, good to do that side of things. In addition to that, of course, this is our crafting grid, so we can store that here. And we also have there's an empty storage we can put in the top. And that will, when we encode that, will go into the bottom. There is another mode here, however, which is more for processing in a machine. So if you want to input, let's say, wool into a machine, and we magically got ME interfaces out, you would be able to say wool on the inside, interfaces on the out, and you'd be able to specify it essentially to that's what this machine does. And the system, instead of thinking of it like a crafting grid, when you ask for interfaces, we'll just ship wool out to that machine. Not that we're going to be particularly doing that, I don't think, but yeah, I'm going to be fine. Right, where was I? Now we wanted the second type of terminal, so let's have a look. I want an interface terminal. You don't, strictly speaking, need this, but it makes your life just a lot easier, so just trust me. I'll show you why, but you will just want to craft one. Let's just make illuminated panels. Yeah, quartz glass. So let's go through that again. Quartz glass. I made too much quartz glass. I may have used up an awful lot of surface quartz, but I had more crafting. So there we go. Interface terminal. This one lets you essentially put your patterns into the interfaces that are auto crafting for you without going anywhere near them. You can just do it all remotely. We're going to need probably one engineering processor. So let's just take a look at that engineering. I can just grab some of the printed ones and just get those made. I'm probably going to need some more silicon. Yeah, let's get some more silicon. Or at least I may need to cook some up. There's 32. I'll put it in here for now. Yeah, and it's going to make up some more of that. We're going to need one processor to start, so that will do us okay there. And we should be okay. So interface terminal. And you should be done. Okay, ME interface terminal. I'm going to put that next to the pattern terminal. And again, I'm just going to basically surround this with facades. There we go. Looks quite nice. And we can do the same thing here, just to fill each of these sides, I want to say. It may not like doing the sides without me doing some other stuff. Let me just go for the sides there. Yeah, there we go. And there. I may have to dig into the floor unless it'll let me attach to... No. Yeah, let's just dig once down. And there. That makes me feel a lot better about it. Okay, so that's 2 terminals done. The third one is going to be the crafting terminal. Not the crafting terminal. It's like the auto-crafting terminal. Let me just look at the terminals and let's see if there's any left. Is it that one? Not the fluid one. I don't need the fluid just yet. We can come back to that one. I want the crafting job terminal. Is that already covered in all of one of these? Maybe it is. Okay, I'll leave it alone for now, and we can come back to it. Now, this is not showing anything at all at the moment because we don't really have any interfaces attached to the system. I've got 4 here, and we're going to go and run some cable, which we need to go up to just for future expansion. We don't absolutely need it. We've got some regular smart cable. We're going to go up to the next tier of cable just to make sure we have a backbone running to that other room that is going to be beefy enough to be able for us to deal with anything in the foreseeable future. We'll get to other stuff later. So we're going to need some ME glass cable and some wool. That will not be hard. So let's make a stack there. And we're going to just bulk up with this to get us dense covered cable. And then from dense covered cable, we can just add redstone and glowstone and get 16 dense cable. Now, these are both the Fluix kind. Remember, there's lots of different colors. One thing to remember with the colors is Fluix can connect to everything and anything, or any of the other colors, but the colors will not connect to each other, only to Fluix. So you can control them to have cables right next to each other, but not connecting just by using different colors. Let's just move you out of the way. Oh, interesting. That feral flare lantern up there has already filled in this detail here. So we may have to craft more here, but you can see how chunky this cable is compared to this cable. Let's just keep going. And reasonably close to here will be fine. I don't have to worry about it too much because our first thing is going to be here. Maybe I should craft just a little bit more. And let's just make that. So ME covered. And we want the Fluix kind. We got 16, so that's enough for another 4 dense. And where's my glowstone? There you are. 4 should be enough. I just want to get to this actual shaft that I've dug here and to the back of it, at least. Okay, so from off this can now handle 32 channels, as it says in the tooltip. Off this, we can start building what we want to. We're going to need to have at least 1 crafting CPU, and we need to have at least 1 interface, but we're going to build more than that, I think. So how far into the room am I? I'm 3 into the room, which is ideal. I'm going to build a CPU on this side and then a tower on that side. Later, I'll shift them all into their own areas, but for now, you know, we've got something to actually build. Let's grab my hammer. Let's put this over here, and I'm just going to dig upwards. So we've got another vertical shaft here, and we'll fill in later. No need to worry about that just yet. Let's just put a thing there for now. Okay, so what are we going to do with the crafting CPUs? Well, remember I got some, and you can feel free to make these, but remember as one of the quest rewards, I got 64k components. Okay, now I didn't use them for storage because I didn't need them for storage at that particular point, and even now I don't necessarily need them for storage. However, what we can do with them is use them to make crafting storage. So crafting storage, when you're telling the system to autocraft stuff, you need enough storage in the system for it to handle all the subcomponents while it's actually creating the stuff for you. You don't need 64k. A 4k will probably do you just fine. There is a whole range of different ones. So crafting storage, 4 tiers, 1k for 16, 64. Probably go for 16, to be honest. You can get away with that quite easily. or even 4. But remember, 4K, I'm not sure if that's bits and bytes. If it's bytes, then that's maybe up to 4,000 items. But if you do a job for, let's say put a job on for 100 things, but each of those 100 things takes another 40 units, then you're already going to hit the maximum of your crafting storage. And by 40 units, I mean 40 subcomponents. You know, like, for example, let's say you made glass. Well, glass would only have 1 sand as a subcomponent. But if you wanted to make, I don't know, some of this stuff, you know, these storage components, you imagine the 64K has 3 16Ks, or each of those has 3 8Ks, etc., or 4Ks, etc., and down to 1K, and all the quartz glass and everything else. And so if you ask it to make lots of it, it just can't. So I think I'm going to use this for the storage component for the CPU, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. We still need to make the crafting unit, but that should be relatively straightforward if I make some more glass cable. And I have used pretty much a lot of that making this smart cable, so let's make some more. There we go. And now this is going to heavily use up processors. Remember, I didn't have very many, so let's just go and grab. Oh, did I put them all in the system? I did. Okay. So I'm going to grab a few of these. I tend to start out by using 9 crafting units and then moving up to 27. So 3x3 at start, and then 3x3x3 later on. So if we just get 9 of these, hopefully I've got enough. Yep. And we're then going to get the 64K, and we're just going to craft 1. There we go. So there's the crafting storage. For the rest of the blocks, you're going to need coprocessors. Is it co-dash processors? Yeah, there we go. These are the things that will actually handle the various components. It's actually doing the stuff for you. So we're going to get 7 of those. Yeah, or at least I am once I actually make more. Oh, in fact, I've got the crafting units. I'd probably just shorten on the engineering processors. Did I, or do I have the silicon yet? Yeah, I do. So we'll put you in there, and you can make 10 of those. So we're going to get 7 of those, 1 of the crafting storage, and that leaves the last block. You can just use a processor for the last block. So 8 of these, and then the 9th block being the crafting storage. Absolutely fine, no problems. I tend to want a crafting monitor, and I use that as the last block. And that is an ME storage monitor, which is probably how it's actually needed. Yeah, let's just see if I can make that. And I'm just going to make actually another one of those level emitters. And then we'll make one of these. Was this storage monitor the thing I was thinking of? No. I will get that back because the wrench does work good. Fine. I can never remember the name of the third one that shows you all the current jobs that are crafting, but I'll figure it out. I'll show you later in the episode. So I've got 1 crafting monitor, and we're going to have 7 of these and 1 of this. And are you done? You are. So we should be able to make the other 6. Crafting coprocessor, co-dash processor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we'll go and make the multi-block. So down here, doesn't really much matter where, but if we want to have it above us, for instance, just so that it's in the floor, and then we can always actually finish underneath, then I would normally do something like something like this. I normally have the crafting monitor in the middle, so if we put the 64K at that end, you can hide that later if you want to put it under the floor. It doesn't matter where it appears in this, and that's not good because it's pointing. It's not pointing. I want it to point upwards. Will that do it if I'm close enough to vertical? Yes, there we go. So if you right click in the middle here when it's actually, or it'll show you what's actually crafting in here when it's on and working. Underneath, you just need to connect this anywhere to, and it doesn't matter where at all, back to your cable. So let's just put it to the crafting storage. Not that that's important. And that will take up 1 channel. And then it's 1 channel on here. There it goes. It's updating itself. One thing about AE2 is that it does take a little bit of time to add new devices potentially to your network. So just be careful when you're doing that. Don't worry about it being not there straight away. Just give it a few seconds. So we've got a crafting co-processing unit. And now we want to think about the other side. On the other side, we're going to make the actual interfaces. So let's just dig down here. Now, interfaces will let you pass through all of this stuff. So, for example, if I connect back to this cable to an interface, it will pass through the connection to the next interface. I don't need to have, one interface, one bit of cable, one interface, one bit of cable, or anything like that. So in this case, I'm going to just connect just underneath here. Just from an aesthetic point of view, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, the maximum we can have is 8. So I'm actually going to dig down 2. There we go. And we're just going to knock the rest of the blocks out here. I don't necessarily need to knock out the corners, so let's just put those back. There we go. But we do need the other sides. Okay. And then we're just going to use our regular smart cable. And I'm going to connect just one on this side, like that. And then, I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we're fine. If we want the main interface unit on the ground. In fact, that means I can put these back as well. And we want our interfaces just like this. So first one down here. There we go. So there's 4. And you can imagine we can put another 4 on top. And then we just want to fill the rest of the spaces with, essentially with either stone, just to cover it up, or at least cover it up for now. We can always leave it open if you want to, but leave the 4 cardinal directions alone. And we're going to be filling those with something else. In fact, I've got access here. I don't need to go back upstairs. I keep forgetting about it. And I did make them, if you remember, the molecular assemblers. I've only got 4 at the moment, but they'll do for demonstration purposes. So let's just put one there, one there, one there, and one there. So we've now pretty much got most of the things we need apart from a blank pattern. So let's just, in fact, I'm probably going to leave it open down here because I want to be able to get to some of this stuff if I need to diagnose any problems. So let's just put some light there and we'll come back to it later. Let's go and get some blank patterns sorted. So pattern. Encoded pattern, blank pattern, there we go. Should be very simple to make. Let's make a few of them. That should do. Put them in our blank pattern. Oops, let's put them in the let's put them in the system, not into the here. So let's put them there. And so here's the crafting pattern button. I didn't show you earlier, but that's the thing that changes between the thing that basically lets us configure one machine, or we're just making a crafting grid recipe. So you change between them. For example, so if I change to this, you specify your inputs here and all your outputs come out in this line here, what the system expects back. We're largely going to be starting with a crafting pattern. The other one will come back to you later. Okay, so now we've got this. It's normal convention for us to actually tell the system how to make more patterns. So if we want to do that and press Shift, you'll see the stuff has been brought into our crafting grid, and then it's basically indicating it's going to export it to a pattern. And now we've got an encoded pattern. So that contains the recipe, if you like. We can go along here to the interface terminal, and you'll see there's different slots here. We've got the molecular assembler, and we've got, 3 other interfaces that have nothing connected to them. In this case, I think we want this one. This one has access to the rest of our system, or should do. So there's our first pattern. And if we now instead look at patterns, the number of patterns in the system, you'll see there is an entry for crafting. So there is no patterns in the system, otherwise that would say a value like 1 or something. So if we say craft, say I want another 10 and press next, it's going to tell us what we're missing. And it'll tell us which crafting CPU it's going to use, but we've only got 1 at the moment, so that's fine. We actually need quartz glass. So we can do the same thing. Go back to our pattern terminal, and we can tell the system how to make quartz glass. glass. Yeah, so there is how many we currently have, but we can basically change that. And what we want to do is give it the most common stuff that we can. So not surface quartz, we want nether quartz. Oh, love it when it decides to do that. Nether quartz, we probably just don't have any nether quartz dust. We don't. Okay, so let's just make some of that. And this is one of the examples of the machine recipe. Eventually, we'll just basically tell it, hey, if you want to create nether quartz dust, just export some nether quartz into this machine, and it will do. Even better than that, and later on, I'll show you how to configure the system so that it always keeps a certain amount of nether quartz dust in stock. That's quite a handy thing to do. And I just want a fifth one. There we go. Do bear in mind that once you do this, and once you save this recipe, it's going to be saved exactly. So if there is no nether quartz dust, it's not going to try and substitute surface quartz dust, unlike the shift click that we normally do when we craft things manually. Actually, let's just... Not sure why you're not letting me let me do that, but let's go for quartz glass again. There we go. There we go, quartz glass. So we save that, and that gives it the ability to create quartz glass. Okay, does this, or is this crafting anything at the moment? I suspect it's not. Yeah, not doing anything. That's why I need this other terminal. I want to remember how to actually get to the information that I want. Unless it's in one of these. Unless it's been combined or I'm misremembering. It doesn't seem so, does it? Okay, it's fine. I will look it up shortly. But in the meantime, let's go back to that again. If we want to make some patterns. Now it should know how to make the things it's missing. And now it can't make 10 unless it has enough of this. So let's just grab you, and it should now have enough because each batch gets about 4 out of the system. So if we tell it to make 10 patterns now, it's okay. You can shift click to get it done immediately, but I just clicked just so that you can see this screen, and then you press start and away it goes. So it should be pretty quick at making those. Yep, it's already made them and they're done. So we have Autocrafting now working. It can be used by this one co-processing unit, and then down here, just to briefly mention again, the bottom interface is where we put both of those patterns. And it's the only one that is connected to the molecular assemblers right now. So I can fill in each of these 4 slots for every interface, and we can have up to 8 in this tower, 8 of these interfaces. These don't consume any channels, but these do. And that does mean that we're going to want to just use a regular cable to do that. Important, if you have a recipe in any of these, let's say it was the bottom one, and you wanted to make, let's say, I don't know, for some reason you wanted to make 400 patterns, it would only have the ability to create one thing at once in each of these molecular assemblers. So you can make multiple patterns and put the same pattern in more than one of these. So as soon as we connect more molecular assemblers, in fact, let's see if we can do that now. Molecular assemblers, unless I can actually not make them. I've not put Autocrafting in for them yet. Yeah, let's just make some, well, just a couple of you. And we're going to need some quartz glass again. Yeah, but we have already put that recipe in the system. So just give me, I don't know, 10 quartz glass. It's going to miss some glass and nether quartz dust. Glass is easy to solve. Nether quartz dust is there. And eventually all of that, of course, will be part of the same system. So quartz glass. Give me 10. Yeah, I should actually just press shift click. Let me just do that just to demonstrate. 10, shift click, start, go, and that should be done. Yep, done. And here's another molecular assembler. So if we pop that on the second one, you'll see it show up in the interface terminal up at the top. Once we go to here. So now there's 2 machines. If you have another pattern here of the same thing, it can then do double the work. It will split the work up among all the machines that has them. However, remember that each of the interfaces can only have up to 9 recipes. So you have to expand things if you're going to do that. Generally, I don't bother. For almost all cases, I don't bother. I just leave one pattern in there. in the most extreme cases, if you're building something like, I don't know, the quartz glass, for instance, if you need lots of stuff being done on demand, you may want to do that, because if you're trying to make a 64K component, that's going to be an awful lot of quartz glass to actually make. However, you know, we can take a step ahead. Let me just check what that actual last terminal is called. I was completely misremembering. It's already in the crafting terminal. If you click over on the top right here, there's crafting status, and that shows you the status of the jobs. So if something's halted or paused or is run out of materials, just click on that icon and you can go over to the other terminal. That probably means I can rearrange this. What I think I'll do is off camera in between episodes or something, I'll knock these blocks out and have it so that it's in the middle here. And then maybe, you know, we'll move something else into the bottom or something along those sort of lines. I've not needed any more ME drives yet, but after making the patterns, the next thing I will normally do is the 1K and the 4K components. I'll tell it how to make those. And then if you ever need a drive, we can just say, hey, just make us a component or make me a drive, and it'll just go ahead and do that. So that is very important. In this particular mod pack, we got some advantages, because if you remember, and I think it's still installed. I can still hear my switches in there. Is it still over here? No, I moved it. Oh, and I should put a light there. You remember I had the piece of equipment over there that lets me just grow seeds into ME crystals. It's probably in there somewhere. But yeah, that is very handy, because the usual thing I normally have to do after making the drive patterns is go through and make the setup to grow crystals. And that is normally with crystal growth accelerators. These, you need 4 of them, and then a fancy setup of annihilation planes and formation planes. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what that kind of setup is already. And however, this one, we should be able to get away with simpler machine recipes, just to import stuff like seeds into that machine and then get the actual completed crystals back out of it. So we'll cover that another episode. I've obviously talked for quite a bit on this episode to get everything started. I'll start filling out more and more of these as we actually go for autocrafting. But we've got the basis of what we need here. We've got a central bus, which has got lots of channels. We've got one coprocessor, but that'll eventually be a cube. And then on this side, we've got our interfaces and we've got our molecular assemblers. People did say it is easier to autocraft in refined storage. Now, I'm not going to do refined storage in this playthrough, but in the next one, I probably will. I'm used to using AE2, but obviously, I think, well, in fact, if any of you know of any upcoming mod packs, once we get through this, I'll put them down on a list, and if it has refined storage, it might be a good option to take. It is slightly different, but there are very, very similar sort of blocks. They've been inspired by each other along the way, but they're both very, very good storage systems, and we'll get used to them. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for this episode. We've got autocrafting out of the way. If you've liked the episode, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, share as you normally would. Follow me on Twitter, Gradaster, if you want to get the notifications there. And otherwise, as always, guys, thanks for watching.